All right, welcome back to the Keep Up Show. I'm your host, Ethan Springston, along with my co host, Kevin Guillen. And today we're talking about something that I think we could all use a little bit more of, and that's energy and focus. Now, energy and focus is something that's going to replace your gas station energy drinks. And when somebody asks me what it is more than what it says on the bag, I basically tell them it's natural caffeine from green coffee bean, B vitamins to help with your mental clarity, and other minerals and vitamins that help you get energy and focus. So when people ask you what it is, what would you say to them?
Oh, well, for me, and I think for most people, it's liquid motivation. It truly is. Yes, it's an energy drink. We call it an energy drink because, what else are you supposed to call it? But there's almost a cult-like following with energy drinks these days. And what we've done with energy and focus is so different in a number of ways that I think we want people to know that it's a lot more than that. It's truly a healthy product. It's truly a healthful way of producing energy and helping your body produce energy, not just squeezing every last bit of energy out of your adrenal glands and kind of frying you out. In today's world, life takes a lot of energy, and life's better with energy, right? So between playing with your kids, work, being fit, and all of the outdoor, hunting, running, whatever you want to do, just takes energy to live well. And there's a lot of places to get it, a lot of ways to get it. Tends to be at the convenience store, as you mentioned. A lot of those canned drinks are pretty void of the things that help your body produce energy naturally and help support the energy pathways of your physiology. And a lot of the ingredients we've added here are really aimed at that purpose. So we're not just giving you a ton of caffeine and sugar and saying, good luck, hopefully this carries you through. We could go through the whole list of things that we have. I think some of the standouts to me are, the zero sugar component of it. In contrast, you see so many energy drinks out there that have, almost a syrup levels of sugar. It serves a purpose for those products, right? Because sugar does, give you the sensation of energy. You do feel a pretty immediate uptick in energy. That instant glucose kick that your body feels and your mind feels certainly gives you that energy. But the other edge of the sword of sugar is that because of the insulin response, you do end up feeling a pretty wicked crash. And that's a roller coaster that we don't want to put our customers in, and we think there's a better way of doing it. So without sugar, we're kind of avoiding that roller coaster. As you said, with B vitamins, 1,000, I think RDA, 1,000% RDA of your B6, B12. Those are really potent, ingredients. Essentially, they're really good for cognitive energy. Really help with a lot of neuro energy, essentially. And the words are kind of escaping me a little bit, but I think everyone pretty well understands what B12 and what B6 can do for mental focus, mental clarity, that sort of thing. So that's where a lot of the energy comes from. Of course, you mentioned caffeine. Caffeine is the most highly researched ingredient in the world of all time. We're a coffee drinking nation. I love coffee. I think everybody here loves coffee. And what we have in energy and focus at 125 milligrams and getting that from green coffee bean is truly the equivalent of about a small cup of coffee or just a moderate cup of coffee. Caffeine is excellent, not at just providing, mental stimulus, mental energy, but also with mobilizing stored fat cells. So, many people are cognizant of the body fat that they have, that they want to lose. Caffeine has been shown to be able to utilize more of that body fat, free that body fat for conversion and utilization of energy. So those are some of the things.
Yeah, and I remember an article that you wrote where you cited a study that showed caffeine's involvement in fat loss, as well as mental clarity and all the other great things that it does. But I wanted to go over the problem that people are having and why they turn to energy drinks in the first place, especially out in the field. So there's obviously a problem with energy and focus when you're going out, waking up at 4 a.m., hiking in 2.5 hours, maybe more, and then having to glass up for however many more hours. trying to stalk an animal and hopefully, get behind the gun or the bow and take one. And they're trying to solve this problem with energy drinks, like you said, that have sugar that are gonna make you jitter behind the scope or the bow and maybe crash at the end of the day. So I think that this product works in conjunction with the natural energy systems in your body to give you that energy that you need, that you don't have those jitters behind the gun. You don't crash when you're trying to pack out the animal. And like, what would you say to the problem that this is solving?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, everyone's experienced that on your heels feeling of the thing you have to do, even the thing you should want to do, but you just don't have the energy to do it. And life is just like I said, it's just not as much fun. Your performance, your enthusiasm, all of those things just suffer when the energy isn't there. For me, energy and focus, one of the things that I appreciate the most about it is that I don't always feel like, man, I just had an energy drink. I've had my fair share of canned energy drinks, 5-hour energy shots, Red Bulls, Monsters, you name it. I've had them all. And when you've had a product like that gives you an overabundance of caffeine, an overabundance of sugar, a lot of synthetic stimulants and things of that nature, you feel like you just had an energy drink. You're wired, you're jittery, you don't feel like sitting still. And that doesn't translate well to performance, mental clarity, decision-making, or even just feeling good. When I have energy and focus, a lot of times I just feel like this steady alertness. You just feel ready, prepared. And like I said, liquid motivation, you just feel motivated. You feel like you've got like a good spirit about you to go do the task at hand. And that's the goal, right? Like we're not trying to rev people up and burn them out. But the other problem that I think people face a lot of times is, when do I drink this type of product? When do I drink a caffeine drink? Now that's so dependent on how caffeine sensitive you are. If you're the type of person who's like highly, highly sensitive, you might not even look into whether you should be drinking a caffeine product to begin with. I know several people who they just can't touch caffeine for a number of reasons. Other people, that can drink an espresso and go to bed moments later. So you got to have that knowledge of who you are and how you respond to caffeine. But generally, in general, around 2:00 is a good cutoff point. Depending on your physiology, you're going to see about 4, could be as much as 7 hours of energy out of one serving of energy and focus. Because again, you're not just looking at caffeine here. You're also getting a really good, profile of ingredients that are going to help the energy pathways of your body produce energy naturally and then help carry you through something like a long pack out or a long night, more naturally. For instance, like this past year, Tom and I and our buddy were hunting elk in Montana. And by the time we killed my bull, cut it up, got packs loaded and everything, it was 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We had a pretty long, steep, wet, snowy pack out. And I wasn't dragging, but I knew, you didn't want to stop mid with this pack out to mix something up. So I made a energy and focus right then and there. And I absolutely felt great through the whole thing. I felt as great as one can feel when you have that much weight on your pack and that far to go, but didn't have any problem sleeping that night. So if you've got some place to put that energy, you've got something to do, you've got business to handle, really you should be drinking it when you feel like you need it.
I always like my friend explanation of the product. It was so the ingredients in here kind of give it a long release. It's kind of a long release form of energy. And he said it's a steady energy throughout the day as opposed to the jitters and the crash that you would experience with maybe coffee or another energy drink. So I've always, and I think green coffee bean is kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, more of a long release form of caffeine, right?
That's a way you could say it. It's just a more natural form of caffeine. Your body metabolizes that in a much more steady way versus synthetic caffeine. We're always going to try to put the most health conscious, scientifically validated ingredients in our product, and nothing that we've ever seen or read about any of the ingredients we're going to use can have like a negative impact. We don't use any artificial colors. We don't use any artificial flavors. And so it stands to reason, like with caffeine, we're going to reach for the very top shelf source of it, which is green coffee bean.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we've went over some of the problems that energy and focus solves. Now, what are the stakes that, if somebody doesn't take some energy and focus out into the field and they, maybe don't do any energy drink or maybe use some of those canned energy drinks, that's going to make you feel worse. And we've seen a lot of people on job sites as well, doing these energy drinks and stuff, and then turning to this and having a lot more success, a lot more production, and at the end of the day, safety for the hunters and the workers.
Yeah.
So I think safety is a huge thing about this product that can really help, prevent a lot of injuries and things that might happen on the job or in the field.
Or just driving, right?
Yeah.
Like I've used it so many times. Probably the most application I've gotten out of energy and focus is when I've got a long drive ahead of me, middle of the night type of thing. Your brain wanders, your eyes get foggy, so you need a way to stay sharp. Energy and focus is a great solution for that, in a healthy way. There's those times in life where you're like, I just need something. I'll stop at a gas station, give me whatever gives me, picks me up. We'd most often like you to be able to reach for a product like energy and focus because of all the things we just said. But safety is huge, right? Like, it doesn't take much, but a lapse in judgment. You don't see something, you don't respond quick enough, X, Y, or Z happens, and you're hurt, someone's hurt, or worse. Those are the ultimate stakes. Like the other side of it too is, with safety and in the workplace and energy, so much of that comes down to hydration, which is why in a lot of cases we really encourage people, like in a situation like that, you can always mix energy and focus with hydrate or recover to have our, world famous Superman mix, which is what most people end up doing. But those electrolytes in your system, and again, a lot of the other cognitive benefits that you have with energy and focus really do a good step towards keeping your brain sharp, your reaction time sharp, in a steady manner. I've heard too from a lot of folks, younger people usually, that are gravitating to like the tall cans that have 350 milligrams of caffeine. There is an upper limit to that. There's something called adrenal fatigue and heart arrhythmia that you can absolutely experience no matter what your age is. If you give your system too much of something and too often. We're certainly avoiding those upper limits. Of course, that's wildly independent based on how much you can tolerate, and that's kind of up to people's tolerance. But again, it's not even just a safe energy drink. It's actually an energy drink that is going to help your body, your human physiology, your performance, your well-being be better. A good example of that, the load of antioxidants we put in. And I think a lot of people get kind of numb to hearing of the word antioxidants. Oh, there's antioxidants and everything. You see it called out on food and box stuff at the grocery store all the time. But what is it? So we're active people. We're taking in high degrees of oxygen. We're processing a lot of oxygen. And it tends to be like the more active you are, running, working out, getting fit, whatever you're doing, you're processing a lot of oxygen. That leads to something called oxidative stress. Essentially, and without getting too into the weeds, what that creates is a number of atoms in your body that don't have a paired electron. So these atoms should have essentially an even number or two electrons. And when you get an atom that does not have that electron, that can wreak havoc on your system. It creates, a lot of inflammation. It creates a whole litany of things that begins to break the body down. We put a lot of antioxidants in here. Vitamin E, vitamin C are in there. Even things like gotu koala extract, carnitine, I believe, not carnitine. We use something else similar to that in there, solely aimed at being able to quench that amount of free radical that exists in your system and to support that oxidative existence and that oxidative stress that's going on in your body, because we're athletes, we're active, it happens to everybody. So again, it's just an example of something we add energy and focus. It's not just aimed at like giving you energy, but also mitigating some of the other things that happen from an active life.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because the free radicals, I think, has been a trendy term and still probably is. And I think if anybody had questions out there of what free radicals are, that was a pretty good explanation of what.
There's a lot more to know, actually, and I think I'd probably I'm sure there's some people listening who are going to be like, oh, that's not quite right or whatever. There's a lot of resources. Maybe in the footer of this video we'll put some links to some helpful. I was actually the other day just listening to a brief episode from a doctor talking about some free radical stuff, and obviously I'm not a doctor, and they can really help you understand and grasp that concept much better than I probably can. But
well, one thing I was looking into was coenzyme Q10, which after a little bit of looking into helps with that, brain cells specifically, because it helps with, the cells in your body, but there's a lot of cells in your brain.
Sure.
So kind of helping with that mental fog. Coenzyme Q10 is actually a really cool ingredient. If you haven't looked into it, look it up, Google it. It's also in our Hydrate and Recover, which I'm glad you dropped the Superman mix in there, because I almost exclusively drink this with a Hydrate and Recover. I almost never drink them separately. They just tastes better. And it's fun kind of mixing and matching the flavors.
Yeah, CoQ10. That's something that I often forget about, and I should probably add to my supplement routine just independently, just to make sure I'm getting enough of it, for its own benefits. But it's really great for your heart too. Coenzymes are really powerful. They actually they directly lead to certain functions of the body and energy production in certain areas. Tends to be a lot of really critical organ function that your body relies on is fed off of coenzyme Q10. Your brain, your heart, your liver, things of that nature. So again, we're not just looking at what's the goal. How do we just pump somebody full of caffeine and sugar to get there? We're a whole well-oiled machine, and the more efficient that you're running in your heart, your mind, your other organs, the more energy you're going to have, in your body, and healthy energy you're going to have to put forward into the activities you want. It's another thing that I think is often overlooked. You look at a product like, let's just say X energy drink that's out there, is off the grocery store shelf. They produce so much energy in the immediate future, right? You get all that sugar, you get all the caffeine. In the long run, over a long time, that ends up robbing so much more energy from you. It puts so much more stress on your body when your body has to produce insulin to manage that much sugar in its blood. It has to produce other things to manage that much inflammation in its joints. Your body is not really built to constantly be at war with that type of energy drink or that type of input. We're always looking at what we can formulate and build to get the desired result in something that's going to work in the most synergistic way with what your body responds to. That's why we always, base all of our formulas and all of our ingredient inclusions off of scientific research, things that are validated, not just stuff that's keyboard warrior blogger stuff, things that have actually gone through some peer-reviewed scientific research and some study that can actually be validated. That is where we put the most emphasis of, where our formulas come from, for that reason. So, we're helping our body. We're not just borrowing some energy from our body.
Yeah, I think shortcuts, you pay a price. And I think that if you're watching this, I think that that you're going to have to put some work in. And we put some work in to this product to, give you the right kind of energy that works well with your body. I wanted to shift into, we've touched on a lot of the ingredients and talked about why energy and focus is the solution. But I wanted to go over the ingredients a little bit and more in depth, and just rattle them off, mention them so that you guys know what you're getting into when you taste something like this. We touched on the natural caffeine from green coffee bean, no jitters and crashes associated with that, B vitamins, and then I think this is what you were wanting to mention earlier was the L-carnitine.
L-carnitine, yeah, that's a great antioxidant. The chromium, copper, zinc, those are also very, very potent antioxidants that serve really that main purpose of oxidative stress and reducing oxidative stress.
Awesome. CoQ10, of course, metabolism, healthy aging of cells. We got into that. Vitamin C, again, if you saw the Hydrate and Recover video, vitamin C is just awesome all the way around. Vitamin E and mixed carotene. Am I pronouncing that correct? Free radical damage again. And then, of course, you said zero sugar, which is all, only some of the list of ingredients you're going to get when you read the back of this. So moving on, customer questions.
Yeah.
Again, we want to answer all of your questions, and there's more to this. There's more to just this product than just the 30 minutes or however long we can sit down and talk about this. Like you said earlier, we need a semester of biochemistry to get into everything. But please leave
your questions.
Leave your questions in the comments or through customer service. We'll see them and we'll address them in the show. One question that I always get is, what is a Superman? Yeah, and we kind of touched on that. What was it?
Yeah, it's energy and focus, hydrate and recover. It's the secret to life for a lot of people. Yeah, you take one packet of energy, one packet of hydrate, or if you're using tubs, a scoop of each in 12, 16 ounces of water, whatever you prefer. And you slug that thing down. It is the lifeblood of a lot of people, and people that hunting hard, working hard, you name it. It's a great combination.
That's funny you said that, because I get a question a lot of how much water I take, and some people like 8 ounces of water, some people like 32 ounces of water, and I've even heard of people putting it in their bladders.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me because it gets all sticky and you gotta wash it out. But is there any preferred?
I did flavor is the main thing, and I would say put it in an amount of water that you are able to drink, within a reasonable amount of time, within a 5, 10, 20-minute period. You don't want to mix this thing up in the morning and drink it throughout the whole day. You just the flavors aren't going to be quite as good by the end of the day or the next day. But water's king, and it's why we opt to put all of our ingredients in powder. It maintains the most bioavailability of all of the ingredients that we use. The longer they spend in solution like water, the more degradation that happens. So, adding water to all of these products is, your body it needs water for cell hydration and to operate. So if you're a low hydration day, if you're burning a lot of fluids, mix that thing up with 20 ounces of water, that would make it a gentler product on your kidneys. But a lot of it's personal preference. We always suggest, though, like if you're going to have a Superman, 12 ounces, drink just 12, 15 ounces of water throughout the next hour, just simple water, too. A lot of these, there's a lot of green ingredients here. There's a lot of potent ingredients. And putting that type of load on your kidneys continually without just some simple water to flush things through your system can cause some down the road problems if you're not drinking just good, simple water.
Yeah. I've heard people say, oh, it's a little vitamin-y, it's a little too sweet. And my answer is always like, you can always dilute it.
100%.
So,
yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. What is the best Superman combo?
Oh, that's the great debate. We have 7 flavors of energy and focus, something like 7 or 8 of hydrate and recover. There's really no bad combination. Everyone's got their preference. My personal favorite, and this is, you can ask me next month and I might have a different answer, but lately I have been such a big fan of just the originals, the Mango Bango Energy and the Berry Blast Hydrate. Those are the 2 flavors that Wilderness Athlete produced, over 20 years ago, and they're still so good, like even better together. So it also kind of is a little bit of a nostalgic thing. Like I just taste it and it brings me back to when I first had my first Superman. I started working with Wilderness Athlete, and I love that combination. But tropical fusion and strawberry pomegranate go great together. There's a lot of great ways to go, but everyone's gonna kind of figure out what they prefer.
I think historically the tropical fusion energy with the strawberry hydrate has been the favorite among fans.
Sure.
But I think recently, last year, we came out with prickly pear orange and huckleberry lemonade.
Right.
And that, I think, took over a lot, because it used to be, for me, blue raspberry and orange, which on the surface level sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But mixed together, blue raspberry hydrate and orange energy is amazing. And it was
good too.
Almost overtaken for me with prickly pear orange and huckleberry lemonade. But I think I gotta say the blue raspberry and orange.
It's good to have options, because you drink any of them. Like I drink something like this every day, and after a time you just need to mix it up. So and people are the same way. So you always got to have some options.
True. Here's a customer review, actually, that kind of, I think, sums up well what we're trying to convey here with the energy and focus. He says, this is Nick. My daily routine. ENF has been the first thing I do every morning for years now. My morning mental fog quickly dissipates, and I can think more clearly while also giving me a slight energy boost. The energy boost I needed has replaced any added caffeine that I used to take. This gives me a nice smooth boost with absolutely no crash like I would get from other caffeine supplements.
There you go.
There you go.
I can relate to Nick. I'm a huge coffee drinker. I love coffee. And most mornings, that's my first drink of the day. But you have an energy and focus first thing, you get more out of it. You just feel like with a cup of coffee, I'm ready for my second cup in another hour.
Oh, yeah.
Or something else in another hour. But you have energy and focus in the morning. That's probably all I'll need for several hours.
Yeah.
For a good long while. So that tells you all you need to know.
I'll still drink coffee in the morning, but
Oh.
I will take Superman for lunch almost every day.
Yeah.
And that gets me through that afternoon hump.
Oh, sure.
That I'm sure you guys have all experienced before, that 2 p.m. feeling.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to end the show here with some rapid fire questions. I want you to see if you can guess some of these percentages.
Oof.
Percentages. We're doing public math here.
Oh, no.
How many adults do you think consume energy regularly across the general population, percentage-wise?
Gut feeling, 60%.
30% consume energy drinks regularly across the population. Now, that's energy drinks. So maybe coffee is a little bit different.
Yeah. Well,
How many among factory workers have consumed energy drinks at some point in their lives?
90%.
68%.
Oh,
I was thinking you'd be a little low on it.
yeah. I wanted to say 100%.
Yeah,
Right. Nothing's 100%, but 90%. Okay.
So 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
That's still a lot. That's still a lot. Yeah, I'm wondering when these statistics came through, because it might be more now.
Yeah.
Here's one that is I'm curious to see if you get this one, since you've been above. One survey reported this percentage of U.S. workers feel boosting their energy with caffeine is top necessity during the workday.
What percentage of people agree with that?
Yeah, what percentage of workers feel that boosting their energy with caffeine is a top necessity during their workday?
U.S. workers,
And that could be, I think, any workers anywhere.
75%.
93%.
So I was conservative on that because I was like, I'm aiming too high.
Yeah.
That's not surprising. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen that too with a lot of our customers for sure. So, wow.
Yeah. So a little bit more than 9 out of 10 people
Yeah.
think they need some caffeine to get
And
their work.
energy is the spice of life, man. It makes life more fun.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. Again, if you guys have any further questions, please comment down below, join our Facebook community page, shoot me a message through the customer service email, or give me a call. I'm your host, Ethan Springston, with my co-host, Kevin Guillen. This is the Keep Up Show. Like and subscribe if you want more, and we'll catch you next time.